SpaceX's live coverage of our fourth Bandwagon rideshare mission. My name is Tyler Lionquist, and I'm a Starlink business analyst here at SpaceX, joining you from Hawthorne, California. There are 18 payloads on board for this mission. At the top of the satellite stack sits Bandwagon-4's primary payload, 425 Korea. Also on board are multiple payloads manifested by Exolaunch. And this is the second demonstration mission for Fergani Space to perform in-orbit capabilities of its in-house designed equipment and platform. Also on board are Starcloud's Starcloud 1, which is looking to prove that modern data center hardware can run in orbit, starting with the world's first NVIDIA H100 GPU deployed in space. Tomorrow Company's Inc.'s Tomorrow S8 and Tomorrow S9 will be deployed as part of a constellation for weather observation across the globe. MECO, developed by VAST, will test critical space station systems in orbit, as well as command and control with mission operators from VAST headquarters. Insights from Haven Demo will inform Haven 1, VAST's commercial space station. A full list of the payloads is available on spacex.com/launches. Our Bandwagon missions launch to a mid-inclination orbit, differing from our transporter rideshare missions, which launch to a sun-synchronous orbit. The mid-inclination orbit fills in the gaps for our customers that want to expand their coverage or complete unique mission objectives. Mid-inclinations offer a higher revisit rate, meaning that satellites in this orbit fly over the same point on Earth faster than they would in some other orbits. Rideshare missions significantly increase access to space for small satellite operators around the world, and we're committed to continuing these launch opportunities for our customers. To learn more about the program, visit spacex.com/rideshare. All systems are go for an on-time liftoff. Weather on the East Coast is green with 95% favorable conditions, and the range is ready to support. But if for some reason we don't launch today, we do have a backup opportunity available for November 2nd at 11:44 p.m. Eastern. So while the countdown continues, let's take a moment to meet the rocket on the pad. That's Falcon 9 on your screen, a two-stage rocket that is 229 feet tall and is getting ready for liftoff in about 7 minutes and 20 seconds. At launch, it produces more than 1.7 million pounds of thrust. And rockets like Falcon 9 don't use all of that power just to go straight up. Early in flight, Falcon 9 performs a gravity turn, a smooth pitch maneuver that tilts the rocket sideways to build up horizontal velocity. You might hear this call out about 10 seconds into launch as vehicle pitching downrange. Once the first stage completes its portion of the mission, it shuts down and then separates. A staged rocket like Falcon 9 sheds the booster, so stage 2 and the payload can keep climbing faster and more efficiently. After stage separation, today's booster will return to landing zone 2 at Cape Canaveral Space Force Station. This particular booster will be returning to Earth for its third time, having previously launched the KF-2 and KF-3 missions. The second stage takes over from there, powered by a single Merlin vacuum engine, also known as the MVAC. With its extended nozzle and optimized design, the MVAC drives maximum performance in the vacuum of space. And topping it all off is the payload fairing, a 17-foot wide carbon composite shell that protects the payload during the uphill trip through the atmosphere. About 3 minutes into flight, both halves of the fairing will separate and then parachute back to Earth. Our fairing halves have both seen multiple flights. One is flying for its 13th time today, and the other for its 11th. In the plan, the fairings will be pulled from the ocean and then prepped to fly again. So much of what makes Falcon 9 remarkable happens in flight. Those stages separating, the first stage landing itself on land or on a drone ship in the middle of the ocean, fairings parachuting back, all to get ready for another flight to space. And getting to space is the first step to building our multiplanetary future. Now at T-minus 5 minutes and 28 seconds, all systems continue to be a go for an on-time liftoff. Coming up shortly, the transporter erector, or the TE, will retract in order to clear the way for Falcon 9's ascent. You might hear it referred to as the strong back from the launch team. In preparation for retraction, the clamps around the second stage will open, making way for the transporter erector to move away from the vehicle. That TE is designed to transport, raise, and support Falcon 9 at the launch pad. It's also equipped with umbilicals, or these flexible lines that are used to route the vehicle's fluids, power, and telemetry from the ground systems to the rocket and payload until the Falcon 9 switches to internal power and clears the pad.
Boostback retract has started.
You can see those clamp arms starting to come open now. It's going to take about 20 seconds for them to fully open, but once they're out of the way, the strong back will recline back away from the vehicle to give it room for liftoff. Those clamp arms at the top help stabilize the second stage during fueling and also prevent movement in high winds. Now that they're fully open, the rocket is fully free at the top. Right now, both stages are nearly fully loaded with about 1 million pounds of propellant. Both the first and second stages should finish propellant loading about a minute apart from each other, with the first stage finishing up at the T-3 minute mark and the second stage finishing around the T-2 minute mark. At T-minus 60 seconds, Falcon 9 will be in startup, and that means that the rocket's autonomous internal flight computers will have taken over the launch countdown. Then, just inside of T-minus 2 seconds, we'll light the M1D engines for liftoff. And once they're at full power, Falcon 9 will lift off the pad and begin its climb to orbit. After engine start, Falcon is held down until all vehicle systems are verified as functioning normally before the release for liftoff.
Stage 1 LOX load is complete.
Liquid oxygen loading for the first stage has finished, finalizing propellant loading for the booster. The Bandwagon-4 payloads continue to be healthy, and the Falcon 9 team is tracking no issues on the rocket. Currently, the weather is green, and the range is ready to support a T0 of 1:09 a.m. Eastern Time. We still have a 95% probability of launch today based on weather, and again, if for any reason we don't launch today, we have a backup opportunity available tomorrow at 11:44 p.m. Eastern. For our next major milestone, we're waiting for the call-out of the second stage LOX loading completion.
Stage 2 LOX load is complete.
And there's a great call-out, so the first and second stages are now fully loaded with over 1 million pounds of rocket-grade kerosene fuel and liquid oxygen. As you may have noticed, there are white clouds forming around the vehicle on our launch pad right now. Those clouds are made up of chilled gas that is vented overboard to maintain pressure in the tanks as needed.
Gas launch closeouts.
When that vented oxygen mixes with the warmer air outside, it condenses into those clouds that you're seeing. We're standing by now for confirmation that Falcon 9 is at startup at the T-1 minute mark.
Falcon 9 is in startup.
At this point, the autonomous flight computers have taken over the launch countdown, and stages 1 and 2 are pressurizing for launch. We're now waiting for the final go directive from the launch director.
Launch director, go for launch.
All systems are go for Falcon 9's launch of Bandwagon-3. Bandwagon-4.
T-minus 30 seconds. T-minus 15 seconds. T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 2, 1, engines full power, and liftoff. Go Bandwagon, go ADD 425.
Vehicle is pitching downrange.
M1T chamber pressure is nominal.
Falcon 9 has lifted off from Space Launch Complex 40 at Cape Canaveral Space Force Station. We're currently throttling down to prepare for max Q, the point of maximum aerodynamic stresses on the vehicle. Max Q occurs in the lower atmosphere, where there's still enough air to create significant
Power and
resistance
telemetry nominal.
against the rocket. This is when the pressure pushing against the rocket is at its highest point, and it's a key test of the vehicle's structural integrity. After
Falcon 9 is supersonic.
After max Q, the rocket continues to accelerate, but the air becomes thinner, reducing the stress on the vehicle as it climbs through the upper layers of the atmosphere.
Max Q.
And there's the call-up for max Q. Merlin engines are back at full power, and we're out of the throttle bucket. From here on, even though velocity is rapidly increasing, the atmospheric density is decreasing, resulting in less loads on Falcon 9. Now we have several events coming up in quick succession, starting with MECO, followed by stage separation,
And back chill.
stage 1 flip, second engine start 1 or SES1, and the start of the Boostback burn. Main engine cutoff, or MECO, is where all 9 Merlin 1D engines shut down to slow the vehicle down in preparation for stage separation, where the first stage separates from the second stage. Following that, the Falcon
Vehicle trajectory is nominal.
The Falcon 9 first stage will then perform a flip maneuver as the MVAC engine on the second stage is in startup. Then we'll see the start of the Boostback burn on the Falcon 9 first stage, followed by fairing separation, where the fairing will jettison from the second stage, now that it's no longer needed to protect the payload once we're in space. And at our customer's request, we will not be showing fairing separation today.
Stage separation confirmed.
Stage 1 Boostback startup.
And back startup. Fairing separation confirmed.
And there we heard those events that happened back to back: main engine cutoff, stage separation, stage 1 flip, second engine start 1, the start of the Boostback burn on the first stage, and fairing separation. We should expect the end of the Boostback burn shortly. The next major milestone coming up is the entry burn on our first stage, scheduled to occur at about T+5 minutes and 56 seconds. Falcon 9 will perform 2 more burns in order to land. The first of the 2 burns is
2 nominal trajectories.
the entry burn to slow itself down before hitting the denser parts of Earth's atmosphere. It's similar to pumping the brakes on your car. Without this burn, we'd only be using the atmospheric drag alone to slow down Falcon 9, which adds extra stresses on the rocket. The Merlin 1D engine will relight for that entry burn, and following the entry burn, the booster will go through its final burn, the landing burn, which should slow the vehicle down even more for a successful land landing. You'll notice the number 4 in today's mission name, indicating that this mission is our 4th dedicated rideshare mission to a mid-inclination orbit. Rideshare significantly increases access to space for small satellite operators around the world. While our transporter rideshare missions launch to a sun-synchronous orbit, bandwagon missions can accommodate even more small sats looking for rides to orbit, launching to a mid-inclination orbit and filling the gaps for our customers that wish to expand their coverage or complete unique objectives that aren't possible with sun-synchronous orbit. It's a little dark out, but you can see the silhouette of the grid fins. Falcon 9 is equipped with 4 hypersonic grid fins positioned near the top of the first stage that help steer the first stage as it returns to Earth. We're about 20 seconds away from the beginning of the entry burn.
Stage 1 entry burn startup.
There's the call out for entry burn startup on the stage. This burn is set to last about 20 seconds.
Stage 2 FTS has saved.
And again is slowing down the vehicle in preparation for its final burn and landing.
Stage 1 entry burn shutdown.
And that concludes our entry burn. The first stage has
Both trajectories are nominal.
The first stage has one more burn left to prep for landing. And as mentioned earlier, we will be attempting to recover this booster, targeting a landing at landing zone 2, which is not far from our launch pad. The Falcon 9 first stage is equipped with 4 landing legs made of carbon fiber with aluminum honeycomb. Placed symmetrically around the base of the rocket,
Stage 1 FTS has saved.
They'll deploy just prior to landing.
Stage 1 transonic.
Coming up within the next 18 seconds, we'll have the start of the landing burn at the first stage. The landing burn is the final burn of the Falcon 9 booster, used to reduce the remaining speed of the vehicle for a gentle and precise landing.
Stage 1 landing burn.
And there you heard that call out for the landing burn start on the Falcon 9 first stage. This is the final burn that this booster will see before touching down on landing zone 2.
Landing leg deploy. Stage 1 landing confirmed.
And there we have it, another successful first stage landing at landing zone 2, marking the 3rd landing for this specific booster. Now we have about 2 minutes remaining before the next event, which is SECO 1, or Second Engine Cutoff 1. That's the first of 3 planned events where the second stage Merlin vacuum engine shuts down and restarts after a coast period. Again, we'll do this 3 times before all payloads are deployed. The Merlin 1D engines on Falcon 9's first stage and the Merlin vacuum engine on the second stage are not only similar in name, but share many of the same systems and characteristics. Each engine is optimized to perform in its unique operating environment. An M1D engine generates approximately 190,000 pounds of thrust during ascent and descent, compared to the 220,500 pounds of thrust achieved by a single MVAC engine. The MVAC nozzle extension on the second stage is significantly taller with a larger diameter than the M1D for optimal performance in the vacuum of space.
Stage 2 has entered terminal guidance.
Coming up in about 20 seconds from now, we should be hearing a call out for SECO 1, which will be the shutdown of the second stage MVAC engine.
MVAC shutdown.
And with confirmation of the planned first shutdown of the second stage engine, we have our first payload deployment coming up.
Nominal orbit insertion.
425 Korea. At the request of our customer, we will not be showing that first deployment on camera, so we'll take a short break and we'll be back for another restart of the second stage Merlin vacuum engine, or SES-2, in about 25 minutes. In the meantime, enjoy the space tunes.
Korea 4254, separation confirmed.
Welcome back to our live coverage of the Bandwagon-4 mission. It's been a great launch and overall mission so far. We had an on-time liftoff at 1:09 a.m. Eastern Time, and then recovered the first stage at Landing Zone 2 at Cape Canaveral Space Force Station. This was the third landing for this booster, and we had a successful first burn of the Merlin vacuum engine on our second stage. We also deployed our first payload of the mission, 425 Korea. Following the first burn of the MVAC engine, Stage 2 entered a roughly 27-minute coast, which is wrapping up now. And we're expecting the second ignition of our Merlin vacuum, or MVAC engine, here shortly.
MVAC ignition and shutdown.
Nominal orbit insertion 2.
There's confirmation of a successful second burn of the MVAC engine on the second stage and confirmation of good orbit. And with that, we have just about 20 minutes until the next event, which is the third restart of the Merlin vacuum engine on the second stage, or SES-3, and that will be followed by the start of our final payload deployments. So we'll take another break, and we'll be back for SES-3 in about 20 minutes.
We sat there and looked at a rocket from Mars, and you just boggled the mind and mind and mind and mind. And the technology caught up, didn't it?
Welcome back to our live coverage of the Bandwagon-4 mission. If you're just joining us, we're continuing to have a great mission. Just to recap, we had an on-time liftoff at 1:09 a.m. Eastern, recovered our Falcon 9 booster for its third landing, and we've completed 2 separate second stage burns. And we also deployed our first payload of the mission, 425 Korea. Coming up shortly is the third burn of our second stage Merlin vacuum engine, which will last roughly 1 second. Coming up in the next 15 seconds, we should be hearing a call out for second engine start 3, which is the third burn of our second stage Merlin vacuum engine. Again, this burn will last roughly 1 second.
MVAC startup. MVAC shutdown.
Nominal orbit insertion 3.
And that's confirmation of a good orbit following our third burn of the MVAC engine on the Falcon 9 second stage. And with that burn complete, we are on track to start our final wave of payload deployments about 5 minutes from now. Hello everyone and welcome back to our live coverage of the Bandwagon-4 mission. Today we are delivering 18 payloads to orbit as part of this rideshare mission. We've already delivered the first, 425 Korea. In case you're just joining us, we had an on-time liftoff at 1:09 a.m. Eastern and recovered our Falcon 9 booster for its third landing. The second stage had its second and third successful ignitions, and now we're standing by for our final payload deployments. We should hear callouts for these over the nets as they're deployed. A full list of the payloads on tonight's mission is available on spacex.com/launches. In case you're not familiar, our Bandwagon missions are dedicated rideshare flights to sun-synchronous orbit. SpaceX's rideshare program was expanded to accommodate even more small sats looking for rides to orbit. Falcon 9 is also launching the transporter missions, which are a separate line of rideshare missions that deliver spacecraft to sun-synchronous orbit. First up is TAURUS, manifested by Exolaunch and developed by Gumash Aerospace. There are actually 4 nanosatellites being deployed in this deployment event, designed to support applications in smart farming, environmental monitoring, maritime safety, and wildlife protection.
TAURUS 1 through 4, deploy confirmed.
SEMI 2 and 3 are next, manifested by Exolaunch. SEMI is a commercial CubeSat cluster designed
SEMI 2, deploy confirmed.
designed primarily for R&D purposes.
SEMI 3, deploy confirmed. Sevrosat 1, deploy confirmed.
Next, we have Lemur 2, ICEYE, built and operated by Spire, manifested today by Exolaunch.
Lemur 2, ICEYE, separation confirmed. Haven demo, separation confirmed.
There goes Haven Demo, developed by VAST. Insights from Haven Demo will inform Haven 1, the world's first commercial space station. Up next, Tomorrow S8, manifested by Tomorrow Companies, Inc., deployed as part of a constellation
Tomorrow S8, separation confirmed.
for weather observation. SEMI 1 follows, manifested by Exolaunch.
SEMI 1, separation confirmed.
And now, ICEYE 2, manifested by Exolaunch.
ICEYE 2, separation confirmed.
Next up, Tomorrow S9, manifested by Tomorrow Companies, Inc. This is deployed as part of a constellation for weather observation.
Tomorrow S9, separation confirmed.
Followed by ICEYE, manifested by Exolaunch.
ICEYE 1, separation confirmed.
And next, FGN 100D2, manifested by Fergani Space. This is the second demonstration mission for Fergani.
FGN 100D2, separation confirmed.
Followed by Starcloud 1, the world's first NVIDIA H100 GPU deployed in space.
Starcloud 1, separation confirmed. ICEYE 3, separation confirmed.
And that was our final payload of the Bandwagon-4 mission, manifested by Exolaunch. And that wraps up our coverage for today. All of us at SpaceX want to give a big thank you to all of our rideshare customers.
All payload separation confirmed.
A big thank you to all of our rideshare customers. We also want to give a shout out to the Eastern Range and Federal Aviation Administration for supporting today's launch. If you're interested in more launch coverage, head over to spacex.com/launches for the most up-to-date information. And while you're there, check out our departure board featuring our upcoming launches and all the details you'll need to join us next time. And remember to follow @SpaceX on X. We'll see you again soon.